Hi everyone, my name's Freddy. I'm the president of the SRA and I'm here to talk to you about firearm safety. Today we're doing Pistol 101. Let's go over the 4 cardinal rules of firearm safety. The first rule, treat every firearm like it is loaded. Think of this rule whenever you are approaching a firearm. Always assume that there is already ammunition in it and it is ready to fire. The second cardinal rule of firearm safety, keep your muzzle pointed in a safe direction at all times. You don't ever want to point the muzzle at something you do not wish to kill or destroy. This includes as you are approaching the firearm. You don't want to be crossing in front of that muzzle, nor do you want to be, as you go to pick it up, pointing that muzzle at anything that you don't want to hurt. Cardinal rule number 3, keep that finger off the trigger until you are ready to shoot. The reason why you want to do this is to prevent negligent discharges. What this means is that you don't want to accidentally pull the trigger when you don't want to actually pull the trigger. That's why we always want to be making a conscious decision when we shoot. Cardinal rule number 4, know your target, what's beyond it, and all around it. This applies to whether or not you're at an indoor or an outdoor range. When you arrive at the range to go shooting, be sure to familiarize yourself with the range rules. There should be a safety briefing available to you before you start shooting. If there is not one, be sure to ask for one. If they decline to offer one, then that should be a red flag that maybe it's not a great place to go shooting. Be sure to identify where the med kit is and who is trained and able to use it. Be sure to also wear your PPE, your eyes, and your ears. Let's talk about loading and unloading a magazine. Here, we have an empty magazine. I'm going to place the magazine in my non-dominant hand. I'm going to line it up with my thumb towards the top, with my thumb up here. Next, I'm going to put the round in my other hand, like so, with butt of it up. From here, I'm going to push down on the follower and push to the rear, so that the bullet is facing out. I'm going to continue loading until I've decided that I don't want any more rounds. So, I've got my second round. I'm going to be pushing down on that first one, and then I'm taking this part of the casing and pushing down on the other casing, not the bullet, the casing, and again, sliding to the rear with the bullet facing forward. It's important that you push on the casing, not the bullet, because some bullets aren't situated very firmly inside of their casing, and this can cause a malfunction to occur when it is loaded into your firearm. We're going to talk about platform and stance. There's a lot of schools of thought on this, but we're going to be focusing on isosceles today, primarily from the right-handed perspective. So, what I want you to do is start off in your athletic stance. You're going to have your feet squared towards your target, toes pointed towards your target. You're now going to stagger your steps. So your left foot is going to be slightly in front of your right foot. You want the toes of your right foot to be in line with the balls of your feet of your left foot. Then we're going to shift our weight towards the balls of our feet to give us a little bit more stability and an ability to move back and forth. From there, we're going to put a little bit of bend in our knees so that we're not locked out and we're providing, again, more stability. Moving up, we want our hips to be squared with our feet towards our target. So our hips, our feet are pointed directly at our target. Moving on up, we're going to now lean slightly forward at the waist, just a little bit, ever so slightly. As we continue to move up, our shoulder is in line with our hips, with our feet pointed at our target. And from there, when we present, our arms are coming straight out and we're punching straight at our target. We're going punching straight out, bringing the sights of a gun to our eyes, not our eyes to our sights. Let's go over positions of rest. These are positions that you can use when you're not actively engaging with your targets. First position we're going to show is the low ready position. This is the high ready position. This is the third position. It is referred to this because it's the third point of reference in your draw. And finally, there's holstered. Alright, so now let's talk about the grip. For this, we want to make sure that our firearm is empty before we proceed. So, first I'm going to remove the magazine. I'm going to push on the magazine release, grab it, and help assist it on its way out. And then I'm going to pull the slide back, lock the slide in place, visually and physically inspect the firearm to confirm that it is empty, and then I'll lock it back forward to continue on. Next, to get a good grip, you're going to take the webbing of your hand, and you'll put it all the way up on the backstop of the grip. You then want to have this part of your hand, the palm, lined up straight on the back strap of the gun. Your index finger will go along the frame of the gun, underneath the slide. Do not put it up on the slide because it will get caught there and pinched, and it can tear skin. These fingers are going to wrap around, and my thumb is going to be flagged up. Next, I'm going to take my empty hand, I'm going to bring it in at an angle, and my thumb is going to mirror my index finger. And I'm going to fill that void. When I look down from the top, I should be able to see that my thumb and my index finger are in line and in the same point. The grip needs to be just tight enough that the firearm isn't going to drop out of my hands. That's honestly as tight as it needs to be. It doesn't need to be any tighter. I don't want a death grip. I don't want my fingers to get blanched. I don't want to be cutting circulation off to my fingers or my hands because that's going to make my grip a lot less stable. So I just want a nice, steady grip. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Now we're going to talk about sight alignment. So we've got the rear post and we've got our front post. Our rear posts are going to be the U shape or the two prongs. The sights that are going to be closest to you on the firearm. And the front sight or the front post, which is going to be the sight furthest from you on the firearm. For perfect sight alignment, you want your front sight and your rear sights to be vertically aligned, meaning that you want the top of your front post to not break the top plane of your rear post, and you want it to be exactly in the center in between both of the rear posts. Sight picture incorporates your sight alignment with your target now. For sight picture, what you want to do is you want to focus on that front sight. You want that to be nice and clear, while your rear sights are going to be blurry and your target will also be blurry. Dry fire drills. This is the cheapest way to train with your firearm because it requires no ammunition for you to do so, nor do you have to go to a range. You can do this at home. Ensure that you are still following the 4 cardinal rules of firearm safety. Make sure that you're using a safe backdrop when you do so. You also want to make sure that there is no live ammunition in the same room that you are going to be doing your dry fire practices in. I'm going to show you how to do an up drill. First thing I need to do is clear my firearm. Here's my magazine. Visually and physically inspecting it. It's clear. I've cleared my firearm. Now, determining a safe backdrop. Got a nice backstop right here. Now, I'm going to determine what my target is. Found my target. Starting here in the low ready position. That's one that I talked about earlier. I found my target. Punching out. My sights are now on my target. If I have a safety, I'm disengaging my safety. From here, I'm now putting my trigger finger on the trigger. I'm going to now slowly and steady squeeze that trigger all the way straight back to the rear until I get that click. When I've got that click, since I've got a striker fired and not a double action, I'm going to rack this slide. So now that my hammer is reset, if I'm going to continue on, I'm going to find my target again, pull that trigger, reset. When I'm done, I'm going to re-engage the safety if I have that safety, and I'm going to return to the low ready. Yeah. Up drill. Now let's do that with live fire. So, first step, clear the firearm. Keep the muzzle pointed down range the entire time. Rack the slide right. Visually and physically inspected. It is empty. I'm going to reholster this. Load my magazine. Now again, coming up, keep my muzzle pointed down range, insert my loaded magazine, engage the slide, find my target, acquired target, sights on target. I don't have a safety I gotta worry about. I'm gonna squeeze my trigger. Do it again. Keep doing this until it is empty. Firearm is now empty, keeping the muzzle pointed down range, finger off the trigger. Take the magazine out. Scan the area. Holster. Let's talk about malfunctions. There's three main types of malfunctions: failure to fire, failure to feed, failure to eject. Failure to fire is any time the gun goes click when it should have gone bang. Failure to eject is when the shell does not properly leave the firearm and rather gets stuck inside, often called the stovepipe. Failure to feed is when, in the process of loading a new round into the chamber, a new round is not properly loaded into the chamber and the gun is jammed. To fix these problems, there is a simple method known as the tap, rack, roll. It looks like this. I got a click instead of a bang, so I'm going to tap the magazine to ensure it's properly seated. Racking and rolling so that the gravity is assisting me in ejecting whatever is wrong inside of my chamber. Re-engaging. I got another click. Now, I've got a more complicated failure. I'm going to eject the magazine that I've got seated in there, rack a few times. And now, I'm going to insert a new magazine, engage. I got my bang. Thank you for joining me today with this Pistol 101 course. Just want to remind folks that these videos are not a replacement for individual training. Check out the SRA website to see if you've got a chapter near you to find an instructor.